Okay, so what happens if you have no money whatsoever and you want to fix your credit and you can't afford to hire a credit repair company? So in this video, I want to break down some of the things that you can do for absolutely free without even spending a single dollar when it comes to fixing your personal credit. Now, mind you, these tactics and strategies will require some effort from your side, so you have to take the time to do them right. And once you go through that process and you start getting some outcomes, you always have to keep your head on the ball and your eyes on the bullseye in order to achieve the optimum results that you're looking for. Credit repair is no easy feat. You don't just come in and you access the processes and strategies and you believe that you're going to get the results in 30 to 60 days. It can absolutely take longer than that, specifically given the fact that we're working with no budget. So if you stick around, and hopefully by the end of this video, you get some pretty powerful strategies that you can use for absolutely free without spending a single dollar in order to get you to your credit goals. Now, if you're new to this channel, before we get started and you haven't subscribed yet and you like the videos that I'm posting, feel free to subscribe to this channel, turn that bell icon on so every time there's a video like this, you'll be first to be notified. And feel free to join my mailing list. It's actually on the description of this video, as well as the free Facebook community group that you can join. It's called the Tube Community of Elite to After for Credit and Wealth. We always have discussions there. We talk about a lot of different things. So I'd definitely like to see you there. And with that all said and done, let's get you started. Credit on a budget. A lot of people don't realize that you can actually do a lot of things yourself personally before even spending a single dollar on credit repair. So let's investigate some of these things. Let's talk about some of the most common things that you probably are overlooking because you feel that you need a specialist to give you some sort of tweak in order to help you reach those objectives. And the reality is you don't. See, most of this information that I share on my channel, specifically the free strategies, is things that you have control over, that you can do yourself. So why not do that and all these type of strategies that I'm teaching yourself now, at least apply those techniques and see what the outcomes you can get, because what's the worst that's going to happen, right? The next step is obviously a progressive step, so you can figure out what the next moves are. So I'm going to guide you step by step on how to do this. So let's start with point number one, right? The point number one is very simple. You need to understand how to read your credit reports. A lot of people don't. There's a lot of different things to look for in a credit report, but I'm going to give you some of the most common things that you need to look out for. Now, normally on these type of videos, and lately, as you guys noticed, I don't put any text on the video. So in this specific video, I'm going to be laying out stuff in text so you can have it and you can see the information that I'm talking about. So the first thing is how to analyze your credit report. There's a couple of things you need to look out for. The credit report is comprised of a huge section and a lot of different things. And I think that if you kind of learn to read them properly, you'll be able to organize your attack strategy. The first thing you need to look out for is the personal details. I designated an entire strategy around removing those personal details. It's called the PI minimizer technique. But the reason why you want to do that is because there's a lot of incongruent information on your credit reports. If any of those personal details are affiliated with bad accounts that you have, then what's going to happen is the stuff is going to stick. It's going to stay. So know how to analyze your credit reports. Know how to analyze the personal details, which is the first thing, the personal identifiers, and learn to see what doesn't belong there. Is it accurate? Is it up to date? So that's the first information. The second things you need to look out for is the type of accounts that you have. And the reason I say that, right, is because if you don't have a diverse amount of type of credit accounts, let's say creditors, and the type of institutions that you're dealing with, then your credit profile is not diverse enough to be considered underwriting worthy. To make sure that you get the funding that you're looking for, to make sure that you can access capital, you might want to apply for installment loans that are small, albeit, in a very short period of time. It could be 6 to 12 months, but it helps you build your credit. And this still doesn't require any upfront capital because you're applying for a loan, you're getting some sort of furniture or electronic stuff, and then you're basically paying 30 days out and you're paying on a monthly basis. So outside of that, installment loans, you need revolving credit. Let's assume you don't have any revolving credit whatsoever and your credit profile is completely clean. See, a lot of 31 to 50-year-old people that I know have regular revolving accounts, but unfortunately they're not strong enough and they haven't really worked on it, even though that account could be there for about 15 to 20 years. So in your situation, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you look at the type of accounts that you have, analyze those type of accounts, see what needs to be worked on. Do you need more installment loans? Do you need to apply for some things that can help you diversify your credit profile in general? And then look at your existing creditors as well, right? So first, personal identifier, second, type of accounts, third, existing creditors. So if you have existing creditors, there's a lot of things that you can do. The first thing you can do is, tap into those existing creditors When was the last time you got a bump in your limit? So that's another thing that you can do for free. If you haven't really gotten a bump in your limit and your credit score is sitting at a stalemate and it's not really moving much, the best thing you can do for yourself is to contact that creditor. Contact that creditor, ask them if there's any opportunity to increase your limit without pulling your credit. You don't want a hard inquiry. And tell them based on the relationship that you've had. If you had this creditor for over 12 months and you've been paying on time and you're carrying small balances and it's not close to maxed out, there's a lot of things that you can do. So take your time to contact your existing creditor, ask them for a limit increase on a promotional basis, not to pull your credit. Don't get a hard inquiry. And if you do it that way, there's a chance that they'll give it to you. Now let's assume they don't have that and they don't want to give you that opportunity. So what you can do next is simply say, I'm gonna work with you for the next 30 days. So call them back in 30 days. So contact your creditors every 30 days if you're not qualified for the type of funding, as I mentioned. So that's the thing that you need to look out for, which is our next element, which is your existing creditor. So with all that said, we talked about personal identifiers. We talked about the type of accounts that you have. We talked about contacting your existing creditors. Now let's assume you have some negative items that are holding you back. So these negative items are the worst, right? They're basically a cancer in your credit report. And you want to get rid of that. You want to just like cut it out and like cook it. So the best thing you can do for that is look at some of the personal identifiers that you have, challenge them and get rid of those bad boys. And then once you do that, wait a couple of days until you get a response back from the credit bureau, confirming that those items were removed, confirming that those personal details have been, basically terminated from your credit report. And from that perspective, use that as a tool to move forward. What we call then this process is the item anchoring technique. The item anchoring technique is very simple. It's just simply saying, well, based on the personal information that you removed, how am I to be sure that you're compliantly keeping my report up to status, up to accuracy, and all these negative items weren't affiliated with what you've removed. So you're simply questioning them. You're not challenging, you're not disputing, and all that kind of stuff. You're just asking them. And simply what happens with it is you want to take all the negative items that are listed and include it in that report and basically use that strategy to move forward with your credit repair process. So that's what you got to do at the beginning when it comes to analyzing your credit report. Okay, so we're done with our first part on how to analyze the reports, and we talked about a couple of things. Now let's talk about the free structures that you can use when it comes to cleaning up that credit profile. So as you know, I am a big advocate, like I said, of the personal identifier. So you basically have to create a letter, right? Like we talked about it. We talked about creating a letter that addresses the personal details and the fact that they don't represent you anymore and they're not up to date. That's the biggest thing we got to worry about, right? So because they're not up to date, that means they need to be adjusted, and that means that they need also to be removed. So let's get to started on moving and removing those negatives, or let's say personal identifiers that are negatively affecting you. So the first thing to do is start a letter. And in the beginning of your letter, you're just simply going to address the credit bureaus, Dear Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, Innovis, whoever it is. The next thing you're going to say is, I've found some inaccurate, misleading information about my personal details that are in this report, and I'd like for you to remove them. And simply you'd list out all the information. You start with your names, last names. You'd start with any type of addresses that no longer correspond to you. You'd start with your employers. You'd start with your aliases, spouse name, SSN, date of birth, so on and so forth. Even phone numbers. You can have a huge list of phone numbers as well that you can include as part of your process to challenge those personal identifiers. So that's the first thing you need to do. Once you've prepared a letter, what you want to do is actually get it notarized. And the reason you want to get it notarized is because it reminds the credit reporting agencies that you are the ones that are in fact sending them. So what's happening lately is the credit reporting agencies are actually fighting back consumers, stating that the letter looks suspicious, contact them directly, and so on and so forth, and basically trying to buy themselves more time. I think the best thing you can do for yourself is if you notarize the document and you send it every single time, every single attempt, including sending certified mail with return receipts, you're going to get a lot more success. So make sure you do that. And then once you send it off, wait the appropriate time that's required for them to respond. See, a lot of people jump into the next thing right away. With personal identifiers, it's important that they respond and give you a correspondence. Once you have that in your hands at your disposal, then it's appropriate for you to go ahead and challenge them based on any other information, which is the negatives. That's going to be part number 2, which is personal identifiers and basically anchoring them to the negative items that may be on your credit report. The reason I say that is because those negative items, like I said, may potentially be affiliated with a personal detail that was removed. So that's why we always say wait until you get a response back. If you have that and you have the appropriate letter that, hey, look, the credit reporting agencies did remove that information, then it works in your favor. And this is why it's one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself when it comes to cleaning your credit for absolutely free without even hiring a credit repair company. So if you follow those two methods, right? If you follow the method of analyzing a credit report properly with all the steps that I've listed, if you follow the method of writing up a proper letter that addresses your personal identifiers, waiting 30 days thereafter, and waiting until you get a response, and taking that response from the bureaus that they confirm the removal of such personal details, and then saying, hey, what if those negatives were affiliated with it? And again, reminding you here, you're not disputing or challenging anything, you're simply asking them and questioning whether or not those links between the personal identifiers and the negatives are in fact connected. So once you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to have to wait another 30 days. So as you can start to see, there are some steps that you need to follow. There are some processes that you absolutely need to respect. But when you do them properly, when you start respecting that process, when you start being patient about the way it needs to be done, you're going to get some awesome results, right? And that's what we're here for. So that's how you do credit repair for free. This is how you structure it in a way that makes you basically get going on the journey of you getting a better credit score if you want to get one. Now, of course, you might be asking me a couple questions like, hey, how do we remove the inquiries? What about bankruptcies, student loans, and so on and so forth? The thing is, when you start with personal identifiers, and you can definitely use the same strategy, but there's other advanced things that you'll need to do. But once you have some negative removals that are basically setting the precedence for you to move forward, then you can always challenge all the other negatives after that. So start with the basic level stuff, which is like the negatives, the lates, the derogatories, collections, and so on and so forth. And then move on to the most advanced metrics, such as bankruptcies, such as, for example, it could be student loans, large amount of student loans that are misreported and they're just not really accurate on your credit reports. So that's why analysis is such a critical part. So when you start doing these type of things, and let's talk about inquiries, for example, we always need permissible purpose for those inquiries. So you got to identify whether or not the credit report does identify those permissible purposes, and you can challenge it based on that. And you can say, well, they say that there was permissible purpose, but I have no evidence of such thing. So there are certain definitions of how to go about attacking those type of other structures, but the beginning should always be the same. It should always be linear and congruent, starting with personal identifiers, waiting for a response, taking that response, and then attacking them based on the connections of the negative items to those identifiers that were just recently deleted, which you now have proof of, and you're sending them a copy as well. And then basically continuing on your journey to get to the credit goal that you're looking for. So when you start it like this, you're not spending a single dollar, and you should have the outcomes that you're looking for. You just have to have the patience, right? And like I said, if you're not getting a response that you're looking for, a desirable one when it comes to removing personal identifiers, it's because you haven't given yourself the opportunity to get documents notarized, and you're not sending a certified mail, and you're not addressing them the right way. So there's so many different factors and variables that can play into how you're not getting the appropriate response. So take the time to analyze the responses that you're getting back, to analyze the strategy that you laid out and prior to what we just discussed now, and then try to retweak those strategies, try to make it even more direct, try to be very straightforward with your process, and then you're going to have a lot of success. So as you can see, it's not a very complicated process. It's very easy to do. It's absolutely free, and then you just need to take your time to do it the right way. Once you do it like that, you're going to get amazing outcomes. You're going to be so happy, and then you're going to basically wonder, what are some of the extra things that you can do? And if you want to just basically go deep into the analysis of it in terms of furthering your education, well, then you have my Ultimate Personal Credit Mastery 2.0, which I did some updates on, and we talk about a lot of other things like how to perform a credit sweep, how to start your own credit repair business to make sure that you can help those that are here with you, your direct and indirect contacts, and educating your clients along the way, and participating in a wealth building community, which is very critical. So I hope this video helped you get some idea on how you can fix your credit for free without you paying a single dollar, and understanding the differences between, identifiers, the negative items that are there, the steps that you need to take, and of course, how to reach your financial goals using your credit. So with that said and done, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below this video and tell me what you like most about our conversation today, and let's start a discussion. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. It will help me grow this channel and get more people aware of what we're doing here and how we're changing lives by educating people on credit and prosperity. With that said, this is your guide and mentor, proud to give you more info and of course try to provide you as much value as I can in these videos. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.